Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is this right here. So if that looks interesting to you guys, please carry on and watch the video. And also just one more thing, if you enjoy what I do here, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really helps me out and it lets me know you guys enjoy these videos. So with all that out of the way guys, let's get into that video.
Okay, so we have Graz'zt primed up here in black, and we're going to start off with his skin. And to start off with his skin, I'm going to go with violet. Now, Graz'zt is usually depicted as either having sort of a bluish skin tone or a purple skin tone, a very unnatural sort of skin tone anyway. So I decided to go with purple, as I've seen that in a lot of his depictions, and I thought it'd be something cool to try out, going with the purple skin tone, something a little bit different to try. So, as you can tell here, it's just a matter of going in, picking out the areas that he has with his skin, and a nice deep dark purple like I am here, and just giving it all a nice base coat. And remember, 2 thin coats so you get a nice even application across the whole miniature. So now I have the base layer all completely done. What I'm going to do now is come on with a pinkish purple, and this is going to be orc blood for me. This is quite a thin paint, so I'm going to have to of course apply this in multiple layers. And I'm just aiming for the highlighted areas on the miniature here. So he's got these nice sculpted in muscles, so I want to be hitting the top of that. Areas where it would be naturally hitting the sun, just going over and finding a lot of these areas. As well as that too, also on the face, you want to make sure you want to pick out places like the nose, the eyebrows, just stuff like that. And being very careful, of course, making sure that we want to keep them within those sort of muscle structured lines to give us a real effect that we've got nice depth between our highlights and our shadows. Then once we have that done, we're going to come in with a wash now, and I'm going to be using druchii violet for this, and this is a purple wash. Totally up to you what you want to do here. If you want to just darken it straight down and go for a more sinister look, you might want to go with the black. I want to keep it within that purple scheme and just darken everything down slightly. And what this applying the wash after our highlights is going to do is help blend them in a little bit more as well. So just keeping that in mind as we're going around. Of course, because this is the first area we've painted up, we don't have to worry too much about it accidentally running off to somewhere we don't want it to when it's drying up or pooling and it's running down. We don't have to worry about that too, but just remember, keep a good eye on it as it's drying. You don't want it to pool in areas we don't want one between, like those muscles and things like that, so just be aware of that. Then once we have that completely dried, we can move on to our next step, and this is going to be using some burnt umber. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the little the skirt that he has around him. Totally up to you what color you want to do this here. You might want to go with a black or another crazy color. I went with just a plain and simple brown ragged. It looks like he's on the battlefield sort of calling someone to come fight. So I want to do this skirt area sort of like a roughed up. I'll do in some later steps where I try and rough it up a little bit, make it look like it's taken a little bit damage, because he's in the sort of come at me fighting pose. So I want to try and imply that. Then once we have that part of the skirt completed, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be painting the belts that are on the front of the skirt. He's got this sort of loincloth area region which he has just draping in a bunch of belts, and I'm going to come in with a dark grey. This is a black grey here for this. Now you could totally do the skirt all the way around in this type of color. I wanted to separate them out a little bit, give a bit more visual interest to the piece, so I'm just coming in and painting those all up. Then once I have those belts painted up, I'm going to come in with some basalt grey. I'm going to be doing 2 little spots with this. I'm going to be using it for painting little highlights on the belt as well. But as well as that, I'm also going to be doing just a stripe around the skirt, sort of just giving it a little bit of visual interest rather than just making it just completely brown. I just wanted to add something in there. I think it stands out a little bit more, makes it look a little bit fancy than just having it plain brown. So just something to add in there to give some visual interest. And it's just a matter of coming around, being very careful. Don't be afraid if you mess it up. You just take it. This looks like it's easy, but what I'm doing is just very carefully going across, sketching in my line first, and then coming in with the full brush stroke later on to smoothen it out. It doesn't look so nice and even as it does on the camera right here as I'm doing it. Then I said I want to make his skirt sort of look a little bit roughed up and battle damaged, so what I'm going to do is come in with some khaki for this. Nice light brown, any sort of light brown would do here. The khaki color may be a little bit too strong, but I'm going to be applying a wash this later, so it'll hopefully darken it down, make them not look so eye-catching, because it's maybe a little bit too distracting. But I just trying to go for some nice battle damage and scars, just some interesting looking wear and tear to that leather on the piece. Totally up to you. Random little streaks across here to get it how you want it and how roughed up you want it to be. Then once you have that complete, I'm going to come in with a wash now, and this is going to be Agrax Earthshade, and I'm going to be applying this to everywhere of our skirt, and even just a little bit over the leather straps on his front sort of loincloth area as well, give them a bit of brown tinge. So nice and easy here, just making sure that we don't have it pooling anywhere we don't want it to, especially on that skin, since we have that looking nice, and if we get a little bit of that brown wash on there, it's going to really stand out, so just be aware of that. So now that we've done that, Graz'zt has this sort of like cape draped over one of his shoulders here, and a sort of like cool little like bit of flare that he has on him, and I wanted to do that a nice big pop out bright vibrant color, and I went with red. You know, he's this devil prince. I want to give him sort of a royalish color and something that was very striking on there, so I went with mephiston red for this. Totally up to you what color you want to do here, and as you can see, like usual, I haven't got the thing in frame, so you can't see me painting it up nice and carefully. So once we have that painted up, what I'm going to be doing now is coming in with a metallic, and I'm going to be picking out all those metallic areas. Now, he has this nice awesome sort of curvy wavy sword on him, so we want to make sure we get that a nice good covering in your metal color of choice. I've just gone with a gunmetal here, but he also has some chains and stuff around here, but I am not going to be giving him any silver onto his big like belt buckle he has there, as well as the little studs on his leather straps and his sort of loincloth region. I want to be painting them up a different color, so totally up to you what you want to do here, but just a nice simple base metallic color. So those areas that we did with the metallic color that I said I was leaving out, the belt buckle and the little studs on it, I'm going to be coming in with a copper for this. I thought this would be a nice warmer metallic color and something more interesting than just going in with an ordinary sort of gunmetal or a steel type. So just something more interesting, and I think gives off a nice warmer color too of the metal, and just something more visually interesting to look at. So just carefully picking out those areas. Then once we have that completed, what we're going to do is come in with some shining silver now, and this is going to be picking out the highlights of our metallics. So just going for those areas where we've got the natural sort of area where the sun's going to naturally hit off there, as well as picking out some lighter streaks on there, making it look sort of a little bit interesting. I'm trying to up my metallics a little bit. I'm still getting used to it, and I think maybe picking out this curvy wavy sword was a little bit more difficult than I planned, but hey, you got to practice somewhere, and it's just finding areas where you want to have the bright areas glinting off places and giving it some more visual interest. Then once we have that complete, we're going to come in with a wash now, and we're using dark tone. This is just a nice simple black wash, and we're going to be applying it to all our metallic areas, as well as that we're also going to be applying it to our red cape that Graz'zt has on him as well, giving that a nice deep dark color. And of course, now since we've got a lot of paint on there and a lot of areas finished on the model, we want to be careful that the pooling of our wash is under control. So just keep an eye on it and apply it thinly if you need to, and just making sure that we get it where we want it. Now coming back in with some mephiston red to give our highlights back to our cape that he has on him. So it's just picking out the nice high top areas of our folds on that little cape, which are nicely sculpted in, so nice and easy to pick out. Just practicing your brush control here. You can see I've got a nice finer tip point brush, so I can really get control and pick out all those little highlights, because they're sculpted in, they're quite tiny, so nice and easy to pick out with a smaller tip brush. Then once we have that complete, what we're going to do now is we're going to paint Graz'tz's eyes, and I'm going to be using some contrast paint to do this. Now, what I've done in the previous step is I've just painted in with some ivory color into the actual eye sockets themselves, so I can apply this green effect, because I want to give them some nice green glowing eyes. I want something strong, contrasting and piercing, something really nice to look at visually on the piece from far away. And as you can see, very, very difficult. This is why I didn't film me painting in the little white spots for the eyes. I wanted to more focus on the effect I'm trying to get here and get it nice and easy. But it's just a matter of coming in and being very careful with applying that white paint, and then applying a nice thin amount of contrast paint over it, giving this green glowing effect. As well as that, I also didn't mention that I painted up his hair and that and his little horns as well. Horns are the exact same color as his skin, and the hair is the same steps as when we're painting up the belts on his loincloth region. I don't know if I mentioned that in the piece, I might have forgot it. But now with that, we can see how he came out, and we can check out those nice, awesome still shots to see what it came out like in the end. And with all that complete, we have finally finished painting up the Demon Prince Graz'zt from the Gale Force 9 miniatures range for Dungeons and Dragons. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, whether you want to follow along with what I did here, or you just want to use the video as some inspiration in painting up your own miniatures. But with all that said guys, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video.